So, Gabi, I bought a new toy for us.
I like to see Sherry's face.
From time to time, I buy new toys. Okay? And I show them to Gabi, and I said, okay,
And
this
then
is.
I say, we don't need this. I am Gabriela.
And I'm Elie.
And to this day in 2024, we've been married for 25 happy years. But okay, explain yourself, please.
Okay. I buy toys for the kitchen. I buy knives, I buy grindstones, I buy whatever I could find.
Okay, I was
in
getting a little
the local.
uncomfortable. I'm back to feeling comfortable. Carry on.
Yeah. But what do you feel when I bring this toy into the kitchen? You said, okay, you don't need this, we don't need this, I can get along without it. Why are you spending money on these toys? But maybe those are the thoughts that you have in your mind. But how do you actually react when I bring a toy?
I don't say that. I'll tell you why I think it, but I don't say it. And I don't show it either, right? Because my thought is, if he's buying, toys for the kitchen, it's because he cares. And it's because he wants to feel that the kitchen is his as well. So if I start saying, we don't need this, why did you spend in that, it's a waste of money or whatever, basically over time,
You'll be cooking alone.
I'll be cooking alone. I'm kind of kicking him out of the kitchen. And, that's not what I want to do, because the kitchen belongs to the family. It doesn't belong just to me. So this opens the conversation of the energy in the house, and in a way, the battle for dominance. The house has to be energetically balanced.
Everybody should feel comfortable. Everybody should have some sort of ownership into how the house
In
looks
all
and
the
feel
common
to them.
spaces, right? That's why they're called
Yeah.
common spaces, right? Yeah.
That's right. And let me tell you, this was a real test for us when the pandemic hit, because when the pandemic hit, like most families, we found ourselves working from home. Well, before that, he was at work. I had my space. The coaching academy, 1,000 square feet, all my energy. I get to choose everything there, right? It's my kingdom. So I went from that to working in the basement where my daughter sleeps,
Yeah.
right? I mean, in a separate room, but still, do you remember where your office was?
I started working in the kitchen, which was horrible because it's like a train station. Everybody was passing by. I'm trying to have a meeting. The kids don't have school, so they are trying to play games most of the time, right? But every 15 minutes they come to the kitchen and see what else they can eat.
It was a real challenge. Eventually got resolved very nicely, of course, when we were able to take over the upper floor, but for a year. And that tested our tolerance, our patience, our kindness. So all these beautiful virtues that you want to have in your relationship, they got tested.
Tested with
Can I
fire.
ask a question here? Did you learn new things about each other in that year? Because you've never been in that situation before, particularly as a family with your 3 children also needing their space?
I would say about me, I learned how much I need my alone time and my space. About him, I learned what an amazing coach he is, because I heard his conversations with his teammates and his team, and I actually got to hear how he works and how he leads his team. So that was impressive to see him in action, and the way how patiently he talks to people. I don't have that patience. Okay, how he leads them. Yeah,
I never heard that.
I know.
Yeah? Okay.
I chose to compliment you in front of everybody.
Okay. So can we go back to our
Yes.
story?
Yes. So So all this to say that, you know, the energy in the house is important. And unfortunately, because we're not aware, we make mistakes, and we don't realize we might be kicking some people out of the house without knowing,
Or from certain areas of the
or from
house.
certain areas. I think the most common example is when women say, "Oh, you put your for the husband, you put your stuff in the basement, you put your stuff in the garage. This is your man's cave." Right? We don't have that in our house. We don't have a man's cave or a woman's cave. And that happens when basically the common areas are all decorated by the woman, right? Or and there's no space. We were talking about generosity of space in the previous episode. We are not generous with our space. Can you have your stuff in this living room too, in our bedroom too? So then people start to feel, okay, yeah, I live here, but this is not really my house. It's not my energy, right? And then, okay, so I'll go to the basement, or I'll stay at work longer because then I have my space there.
Wow, that's super interesting to me, particularly because you touched a nerve in me that I'm actually finding my own self now. I'm going to sleep on this and want to get better at it, because there's a certain part of the kitchen, which is the workstation part of the kitchen, where the sink, the stove, the oven, the dishwasher are. And it's like, I do behave like no one's allowed in there. Because, like, when they're in there, they are in my space. I actually do behave, I become a different person when someone is in my way there, or left dishes in the sink that are not mine to clean, or what have you. So this is a teaching moment for me, and I'm just going to say thank you.
I remember also when we decided to build a media room, which was my dream. You know, I designed it in my mind with one big couch, not couch, one big chair, right? A nice recliner, but one with a big TV, right? With a perfect sound system, but basically one, maybe two seats between this room could be accommodated.
Yeah.
You did not agree with that vision, right? So now it's a very nice media room, right? There are still recliners, but there are 6 of them, and the TV is smaller,
Yeah.
but you know, everybody feels comfortable there. And the nice part is that we enjoy spending time together as a family there, where there's 4 or 5 and sometimes 6 people in the same media room and watching
Yes.
together a movie. And that was different than my
Vision. Yeah.
vision.
Yeah, we adapted the vision to suit the entire family if we want to have, because one of the rituals, talking about rituals that we do in our family, I think rituals are really important. They give meaning, right, to everything we do. So one of our rituals is movie nights. We are movie people. Lots of times we refer to, we were watching this. So we consume quite a lot of media. We love that, everybody in the house. So having a media room is where we have movie nights, and a movie night is always, you know, it comes with special food that is only for movie night, and we do a discussion about what are we watching. So that also is good for the family to discuss, and sometimes we let someone choose, the other time someone else chooses. So there's a nice flow of energy. But you know, many times I hear women say, "Well, we needed to decorate the I don't know, the living room, so my husband says, I trust you, here's the credit card, go buy whatever you want." And I'm like, no, 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 that's a no for us, at least. And that's because, oh, he doesn't care. Yes, he cares. He says he doesn't care because he feels you won't maybe listen or respect what he has to say. Everybody cares. This is his house. So the solution to make sure that in the common spaces everybody feels that this is our home, so everybody wants to be in the home, and not we're kicking people out of the house, is to decorate the house together, and to allow. There has to be a compromise to allow for, okay, you want it to be this way, it's not that important for me, fine. We can choose that color.
Don't decorate your bedroom like Barbie house.
Yeah.
No, but it's very interesting because when you have that flow of conversation, it's very inviting, particularly for the children, to be asked Are you good with, mom and dad want to do this, let's say. How do you feel about that? It's really nice for them to feel like, oh, this really is my house too. I get a say. I think that's quite something. And the men do care. They don't want to just give you the credit card and give you carte blanche. It's their
You
home.
know, thank you for that's right, and thank you for saying what mentioning the children, because I'll tell you a story. When my parents were selling their previous home, they had a couple visiting, and they were about to place an offer, and my mom asked them, "Do you have children?" He says, "Yes, we have a 16 and 18 years old." And he says, "We like the house. We want to place an offer." And my mom says, "Don't you want to show it to your children first?" And the couple said, "No, we are buying. It's our mortgage. We are paying. We are the parents. So we don't do that, right? We make sure to bring the children, and when we purchased this home, brought the children, even though they were very young."
The youngest was 4, right? And he got to look and see the young child that was living here before.
Yeah, so the idea is to have, so you have the private spaces, right? So in your private rooms, it's your energy. And that's why teenagers leave everything on the floor, right? Usually teenagers, all their clothes are on the floor and it's
Well,
a
that's
mess.
why mothers of
And
teenagers always have that door closed.
that's right, because by doing that, the teenager basically is asserting himself or herself and saying, "This is my energy, this is my room," which is part of saying, "I'm separating from you," with the normal, course of evolution, right? So we want to respect that. We can ask to clean up, but we want to also respect and close the door. But in the common areas, everybody should keep it decent and everybody should clean up. I told the client, you should have a family meeting and say, every, every day at 8 p.m., I put the timer for 10 minutes. You go pick up your stuff from the common areas and you bring it to your room. It should be everybody's responsibility, because we want everyone to feel that this is our home. So sometimes you say, "Oh, get out of the kitchen." No, children, no, no, no. You want to participate, even though it's more work for me. We want everybody to feel that this is their home, especially the balance between the feminine and the masculine energy, not just among people, but to keep a nice balance of feminine, masculine. You can enter a home and know who decorated that house, right? We always decorate it together, and
Well, we are lucky that we have similar taste,
that's true.
right? We like
Except for the
the curtains.
yes, the curtains in your
Yes. We have similar taste. We know we don't like outrageous designs, right? It's very subtle, conservative.
but we also can say this is really important for me.
Yeah.
So if it's not that important for the other one, then it's a sign saying this has to happen. It's really, we just did some renovations, so there was a picture I wanted. I said, this is very important for me that this picture is in this wall. And the bedroom has to have a nice balance of feminine and masculine energy. If it's very, very feminine, then the man will assert his energy by having socks on the floor or controlling the remote control of the TV if there's a TV,
That's how we mark our spaces.
Yes, that's how.
Yeah. This is my tree.
I get this corner, I get this thing. But in terms of, if we're going to use the word dominance in a family household, in a family environment, then what I am understanding is that it's fair for children to kind of dominate and kind of make the rules and decisions for their own bedrooms. And
That's right.
it's a parent's role, let's say, to respect and allow that and not judge it and not get mad at it and not condemn the child because, they left a bag of chips there for 3 weeks or what have you. That's quite something for a lot of parents to master, allowing that freedom for their children. I mean, I don't know what age you're talking about. I would assume from as the minute they're formed kind of thing and can speak up for themselves is the right time for them to get to choose. But is there not ever a time that someone is dominating a common area?
I think that every time we, like you said, we don't let people into certain areas or we're dominating that area. Usually women dominate the kitchen. Every time we decorate that area on our own, we are dominating that area. So that's why truly to have that nice balance of feminine, masculine energy, and for everybody to feel this is their home, you want to do things together. Um, about teenagers, what happens is that if we don't let them assert themselves in their own bedroom, they're going to do that outside of the home in other ways that might not be as pleasant. So they also need to have their space. And we knock on the doors. Of course, now if they're getting dressed and stuff like that, there are right you have to. But even when they were younger, we knock on the doors, and that means that they don't need to lock. If we don't knock on the doors, they will lock, and I don't want them to lock the doors, right? And they too, by the way, we sleep with our door closed. Our bedroom is closed, so they know they will never open the bedroom without knocking on the door.
Yeah.
And that allows for everybody to feel this is my home too. I have my
Right.
safe
Yeah.
haven as well. And then in the common spaces, we can all have fun. And when I need my time, when I need my space, when I need to retract, I will do that. And it's so interesting because we eat as a family every night. But sometimes, one of them will have a day that was more overwhelming at school. And if they need that alone time, especially one that is more introverted, he will say, do I have permission to eat in my bedroom today? I need time for myself. And we will say yes, because of course it's not every day. And just the fact he's understanding his needs, he's expressing his needs, right? How can I say no?
Well, if we say yes, they've learned not to exploit that, right?
Yeah, they don't exploit that.
They come with those questions only when they really feel that
I mean,
they
you
need it,
just
not because they want to see a movie on
right.
Netflix.
You guys just really described a very what I perceive as a very healthy approach to creating honest communication where your kids feel safe to be able to be vulnerable with you and to express a need. And a lot of young children I know do not feel safe expressing a need to their parents because they've gotten the backlash or they've got, so there's this trust thing that over time, I'm sure it did not happen overnight, that you as parents, and I'm going to put you together, and your children, who I know you're separate from Elie and your children are separate, but if we look at that, as parents, you gave your children that. It's huge.
Yeah, it's about building that bond of trust. For me, that's always that. Because who's in your inner circle? The people you trust the most. Not even the people you love the most, the people you trust the most. Hopefully that are also those that you love. And the idea is that everybody feels that their home is their oasis, right? So if there's noise in the living room, you have your bedroom. If you need to be alone and you're asking to eat on your own, we'll respect that.
Right.
Unless, like you say, they exploit it, but they don't. So yeah, I think it's about being mindful of the energies and making sure that everybody has their space, but also there's the common areas where everybody has a bone or like the dog.
Yeah. And that you guys love media as a family and that you created a space with the 6 chairs so that you have this time together and you made it very conducive and easy to have that time together. I mean, well, you're very fortunate that you're able to create that space, and that you prioritized that, because soon enough your children will not be living at home and these opportunities will never come back, right? They don't come back in the same way that you're able to do this. Let's say every Saturday night is family movie night, whatever. It's great.
True.
Right.
It's true. We are very homey. We are a very good example of the IKEA advertisement. So we like to go out, but we like more to stay home. So we have slowly created from our home that safe haven, that oasis. that we're talking about. And now we also work from home. Me all the time, Elie most of the time. So, yeah, using this principle has allowed everybody to feel that we can all be together here and still have a nice balance of privacy, my energy, and our energy. It's the me and
So
the
I would
us.
want to ask Elie kind of like a wrap-up question. If we're talking about spaces, physical space, and we go back to the gift, or sorry, the toys that you bought, pardon me, how would you explain to people, let's say, who might be struggling with their division of space and the me-mine kind of energy, what would you offer them as advice or a tool or something that they could do to change and create more unity in their physical space?
Well, it should start with open-mindedness, right? Your vision is not the only vision, and it's not the ultimate wisdom that has to guide the design decisions or any other decisions. So be open to accept the feedback from the other person. Even there's very good chances that the feedback is not going to be an absolute yes, but there's going to be pushback in certain points. But that openness kind of leads you to build the skills to have better communication. Right? We always come back to the topic of communication, and that's a perfect manifestation of that communication, right? So if you allow yourself to learn how to design common areas, even though that one cares more about that area than the other, together, that design, then again, go back to that open-mindedness and building that communication foundation.
And about caring, because when you say, oh, I don't care about the living room, choose whatever you want, it's also about asking yourself, before you communicate, I think it's about asking yourself, what would I want my living room to look like? Right? To make sure that you care, first and foremost. Start by saying, no, this is my house. It's so convenient to say, I don't care, do whatever you want. Like Elie asked me, and we had to think about that on when we were going on a trip. He asked me, what would you like this vacation to look like? It caught me off guard. I had to stop and think. Sometimes we have to stop and put the attention. This is my home. This is my family. What would be the ideal living room for me? Right? So I think it starts with that, and not deselecting yourself from that, saying it's not my thing. Yes, it is your thing. It's your home. It's where you come every day. It's where you want to feel safe.
I'm listening to you guys talk, and I'm thinking, okay, a couple decides it's time for us to renovate this room or this floor of the house. So then that's the first point of conversation. It's time to do this, and we both agree. The next point of conversation is, how much are we going to spend, right? How much is this rent going to cost us? How much are we spending? And that's where it could end. The wife just takes the lead. Usually the wife will take the lead and not consult. So that's so interesting, because to me, a renovation is always the decision to do it and then the money. And here we're having this whole conversation around, no. That is just the beginning for the rest. That's, right?
And
If you design things together, that would lead you to come up with a space that you both like to be together, and ultimately it will, which is really the holy grail, it will lead you to like being with each other.
There you go. Cool.
Right? If you don't like the space, it will be translated very quickly into not liking being there, and it could be perceived as not being able to be with each other. So that's what you want to avoid.
It's truly about building together. Doesn't matter what you're building. You're building a new bathroom. You're building your ideal vacation. You're building the financial plan for your children to go to school. It's about building together, right? It's about that union. I like Manis Freeman words. He says, being single is natural. It's easy. You don't have to be so generous, so kind. You don't have to share. Being married, it's supernatural, but it gives you superpowers. What are you going to do with these superpowers?
Love it.
And with those wisdom, wise words, I propose we stop here. If you found this useful, if you have questions, give us a like, a comment, subscribe. We'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you,
Shari.
as always.